Right, this is about a statement of my character and who I truly am as a human being. Never had any criminal or violent history or any criminal or violent associates involved in my life that I know of. All of my life. Had a few idiots involved in my life, but not criminals as such. When I lived in London, I was on the telephone calling Ireland, and this old man, old age pensioner, was buying a train ticket, and some guy walked up behind him, and I was on the phone, and I was standing there watching it, and he hit him with a hammer and stole his money, and then he did a runner, and I hung up the phone and I ran after him, and I ran for about maybe 3/4 of a mile, and then I got a member of the public to watch him where he was going, and I had to run then another half a mile, 3/4 of a mile to the police station. It took me about a minute to run to the police station. It took us about 3 minutes in total to get the police to actually get their heads from up their ass. And we drove down. The guy was just about to walk into the tube station, and I jumped out of the police car and grabbed him, and he was put under arrest, and he was arrested for grievous bodily harm, and then it turned out that he'd actually caused 2 robberies and 2 grievous bodily harms the night before in Shepherd's Bush Market. So there was 3 people in a space of 15 hours, 16 hours that were all beat up with a hammer. So I caught him, and he got 5 years X 5 years X 5 years concurrent for each offence. So that's the type of character I am. That's who I am as a human being. I'm not going to let anybody harm anybody else, which is why I find it completely and utterly disgraceful and despicable that the New Zealand government and its organisations hide behind fear and violence. What pisses me off even more is a Queen's Counsel left that evidence out of her report. A forensic psychiatrist left that evidence out of his reports. An ACC advocate didn't do anything about it. The New Zealand media didn't want to know about it. The Ombudsman's office didn't want to know about it. The Cabinet of Ministers and Prime Ministers didn't care less. As long as they were able to hide behind fear and violence and run their slavery in my life and carry out the biggest criminal abuse and the biggest vigilante state terrorist action on a victim's life that anybody could ever carry out from behind a position of power. And all they have to do is go, I'm frightened. I mean, he says it's just despicable that they take a person with no criminal or violent history of any kind, who has a history of saving people's lives, and they're able to do this based on hearsay, lies, innuendo, speculation, manufacturing, inventions, while they're the ones actually dishing out all their stalking, harassment, criminal harassment, slander, label, defaming of me and my family, and working to turn themselves into victims at all times. I've never mentioned this on videotape before because it's just all coming to light now, and I'm thinking back on everything that they suppressed, and they literally suppressed everything that made me out to be a good person, because it didn't suit their purpose. It was all about discrediting me and destroying me as a human being, and that's what these people work to achieve, and that's what they work to do. They're the biggest criminals that ever walked the planet. And now I'm up for the alleged threat to kill. What a laugh, what a joke. Jacinda. I was going to put a stop to it one way or the other, people, and I'm not going to have my life turned into a slave trade action. Can't remember anything about it much, but I was probably drunk, probably writing to myself. Very therapeutic, actually. But apparently she was sent the email, and now it's turned out she's never read any of the emails, so that doesn't help matters any. That's just her hiding behind ignorance, denial, refusal, and excuse. But this will now bring a lot of facts of my case to light. And it was going to happen one way or the other. I mean, see, at the end of the day, I was going to have to compromise myself to some extent for the world to know exactly how these slave trading bastards work, and how these vigilantes and state terrorists work, and what lengths they'll go to destroy people's lives. And at the end of the day, you can retreat all you want. Once you retreat as far as you can go, you're simply their slave trade action, and they're spoon feeding you shit for the rest of your life, robbing you of 90% of your income and your quality of life, and tying your life up in legal and political garbage for the rest of your life. So I class their actions as attempted murder. I class their actions as slavery. Their actions are criminal blackmail under Section B of the Crimes Act, because every conflict they create is aimed at costing you everything you've got. So literally, when these things happen, you have to make a stand. I'm not on the retreat anymore. I have no intentions of retreating. I have no intentions of letting any of these criminals off the hook for what they've done to me and my family. What they've done to me, I mean, I can deal with, but kids can't deal with it. Because they're taking away my time and my quality of life and my energy and my effort. And they're wearing me down mentally, psychologically, emotionally, physically, and financially every fucking day. And you reach your point, people, the pinnacle. And it's destroying your health and well-being. And without your health and well-being, you haven't got a life. And your kids suffer just as much as anybody else does. You might be suffering, but your kids are suffering too. You have to understand these things. And there's nothing you can do to change that, because you're under the control of these slave trading bastards. That's the bottom line. So we are where we are. I'm classing their actions as the biggest, well, they call it gaslighting. I don't call it gaslighting. I call it state terrorism. Funding its own state terrorism. Carrying out its crimes, fear and violence, and backing you into a corner as far as they can get you so they can control the outcome of your life. And they can get to cover up their crimes, and then they can continue to commit these crimes against every other victim in the future. But you all know now where I stand. I mean, I've never been one for violence. I've never been one for instigating violence. But I know how to finish it if I need to. And at the end of the day, if it ends lawfully, great. That means the Prime Minister has to call for a Royal Commission of Inquiry. If it doesn't, it fucking ends on a last resort. Because I ain't going to live this shit for the rest of my life and be spoon-fed shit by my attackers, my abusers, and my kidnappers. You wouldn't fucking ask anybody to do that. The damage is done. The harm's done. And I'm so determined to get justice and accountability. And I want my name cleared. I want my name restored to its former being. And if they're not going to do it, then fuck it, they can have it. They'll fucking pay the ultimate price for it, though. That's for fucking damn sure. At the end of the day, people, I would love it to end peacefully and lawfully. But if it doesn't, it's not through my lack of trying. I don't have the money, the power, and the resources. I'm held criminally to blackmail and ransom at all times, and they're trying to get away with their crimes by trickery, deception, chicanery, by corruption and criminality, by declaring themselves victims at all times. There's no Crown and Government department in New Zealand that actually represents society when it comes to them in positions of power committing crimes. There's no policing of their crimes. And the government sold your life into slavery. And once they sell your life into slavery, they don't give a fuck. If the slave traders lose control, the government helps them get back control. Even though they've already stated they're unfit for purpose in my case. The government does nothing about it. The government expects you to spend tens of millions of dollars to prove the crimes that they've committed. And the crimes that they've committed, and that they are committing against many victims, is already proven. It's slavery. And over a victim's lifetime, depending on how long they're actually on ACC, not getting any rehabilitation, not getting any medical treatment needs, not getting help, assistance, support, and protection at all times, not having positive impacts in their lives. All this negative, criminal, abusive, violent behaviour, it takes its toll on your life. And it is slavery. And they can't call it any less than slavery. Because the government sold your life, doesn't police any crimes, and then tries to literally get away with murder. They're not getting away with murder, people. I can guarantee it. Good luck, and you now know what type of person I am.